Hey guys, welcome back to the channel once again, and you know, I've been saying for years now that one of the most overlooked groups in all of Transformers collecting fandom would have to be the Throttlebots. As a matter of fact, I don't know if we've had really anything worth talking about since the days of G1, though admittedly we did get like a Generations Gold Bug, and we did get a smaller iteration of Roadburn. Chase. It was Chase. But perhaps the call was best answered by Toyworld with their Throttlebot inspired combiner, which naturally, as is often the case, would get KO'd. In this case, I believe it was KO'd and oversized by Wei Jiang, which brings us to what we're going to start today. We're going to take a look at that oversized KO of the Toyworld Throttlebot combiner, and we're going to begin things with this big boy, who by rights is supposed to turn into a dump truck. Nevertheless, this is the KO Wei Jiang Wideload, and he's going to be our focus this time around in the latest GotBot True review. Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm your host, your most humble of hosts, Dennis Moulton, aka GotBot. As always, please like, comment, share, of course, subscribe, check out Machinery of Man, The Everything Factor, Transformers Collectors, NL, the Autobot family, and me everywhere. And hey, while you're at it, do not forget to, that's right, hit that notification bell because it lets you know when content of all sorts goes up here on the channel. And we're starting things off with this guy, and he feels hefty, he feels bulky, he feels really good, like he should be an excellent figure, but there's a lot of issues with this. I cannot speak to the quality of the actual Toyworld version, though I've heard some things. It's a complicated transformation, certainly on the oversized KO here, and there are definitely some tolerance issues. I have often said that I love Wei Jiang products, but I feel like this was in their early days, and it really shows. You'll see what I mean when we head over to the table and take a closer look at this big lad. And obviously, because I'm a sucker for punishment, I thought I'd start out with the hardest member of this team of 6. This is their take, of course, on Wideload. It's an interesting, like, SUV, orange SUV type of lad, but it's not exactly correct for what he's supposed to be. Now, even though he has a stylized alt mode, he's still the biggest of the bunch, as he should be. He was also known as being like kind of vain, sort of narcissistic. Like, he thought he was great, you know? And then I wish I could say that this figure, this representation of him was great, but there's a lot of good, bad, and ugly here, and I'll kind of show it as we go right through. But in this mode, I can say he rolls very nicely, and his accessory does store on the top very nicely. And indeed, not to feed his ego, but he does look really good. We're going to start off, though, and take a look at his instructions first. And here are the instructions. They don't even hide that it's Wideload. Like, that's outright what they call them. I had no idea there's a lot of, like, Japanese, Chinese, I don't even know, and I'm so sorry, I don't know what that writing is that I can't read. I assume that the whole group is Wei Jiang because I do see the Wei Jiang logo on the back. Very small images here. They're pretty effective instructions, but I wish that they were printed a little bit bigger. He also comes with this impressive orange Gatling gun thing, and there's a little rectangular tab down here. That's what tabs into the top of the vehicle mode. And it can flip down to reveal a handle that would be used, you guessed it, for robot mode. I also want to offer a slight apology here. If you notice that my hands are kind of, you know, cut up and dinged up, yesterday, as of this recording, I put up the Christmas lights outside, and it was a little hard on the old hand, so I apologize for that. Now, we're not going to give him any scores yet because we need to do the transformation first, and I expect this to be a bit of a train wreck to show. I'm going to do the best I can. There's probably going to be some cuts along the way. I'm also going to show you why this is like extra challenging because of QC issues. I'm not used to them from Wei Jiang products. I do not know if the actual Toyworld version suffers this. Maybe somebody can let us know in the comments, but I know this guy suffers it, and it's important, I think, to go pointed out. So we start, and all of like this section here, as well as all the way down the back, we'll have to unpeg, untab. That all goes lifted off first and foremost. But I need to do it delicately because we do have some issues here. It does tab in nicely, but it's because of the nature of the issues that we have, this is going to be a bit scary to pop up. I have popped off the front there, popped off the back here. Ooh, ooh, this does not feel nice. And we pick it all up. There's a huge, see if I can just angle this up for now. There's a huge blue hinge in here. That's how you kind of pick everything off, which is cool, that's fine. But then that brings us to the problems like up in this section on the inside. And before I really do the transformation, I want to show you those problems inside. I'm going to try and show it here now, see how well we can do with it. Okay, so if we look at inside here, we have these two hinges down here. The very small one that's connected to the orange, both of those have issues. One is highly stressed because they're just wrapped around a pin that goes through the two blue pieces on the side and the little orange piece in the middle. One blue side has severe stress marks. I kind of reinforced it with some Bondic. The other one completely broke off. And this flap was not holding on. I had to rebuild that piece holding it on, unfortunately. As well, there are 1, 2, 3, 4 hinges on the side panels. This hinge over right here on the lower side, it too broke in half. It has been repaired twice. The hinges, the plastic used for the hinges is thin. The panels are thin. The tolerance around the pins holding them there is fairly tight. Now, when we go to torso mode, we're supposed to kind of fold in this running board piece and this back piece and fold out, or maybe it's fold out that piece and fold in this little front piece. Same over here, we would fold in this little front piece and fold out this big back piece. I don't do that because it's too much stress on already broken hinges. We will see what I do differently when we get there, but if yours isn't broke, I almost suggest you to do the I call it alternate transformation that I do because it's probably going to save you from actually breaking your figure and having to try and do a repair. And I can tell you now, it is rough to try and do it with glue because it doesn't hold that well, especially if you're trying to separate these two pieces. Like, here's the thing, there are two panels here and they tab into each other, but you need to almost flex this back piece to untab it, so I suggest not doing it. Just treat it as if it's one big panel and call it good. You will be a lot happier and life will be a lot less scary for you. Anyway, that's what we're kind of to right there, and I did want to point it out. We're going to kind of get him back in position where he was, and we're going to sort of continue on with the transformation from where we were. Hopefully I was able to show that well enough that you could see the two hinges, 3 technically, that have already been like reinforced and whatnot. It does not give me confidence for the other hinges. I don't really like this like whole backpack section. Now, I suppose the argument could be made that, hey, why don't you just remove the whole backpack section? Just get rid of it. Well, you could, but then you're going to be left with a vehicle mode that looks like this. Like, it can still get in vehicle mode, but it doesn't look right in the least. And the combine mode wouldn't look right. So, like, you almost kind of need it. Like I said, I deal with it a bit differently. So, at this point, now that we have that up, I would come down here and bring these pieces up over. They're his toes, really, and they can come apart, as can the lower legs. So we split the lower legs, and if I can get that out of the way, we come here and we should be able to split the toe pieces. Again, the way that they're together is a little bit scary. The way that they tab together, because it's very small tabs, so I'm going to get them apart and then we'll go on. Just so as not to particularly skip something, you can see that there's a little tab here and a little tab down right there. Those tabs peg into little slots, but the plastic is not the strongest, not on the KO anyway. It's a little scary getting it apart. Nevertheless, once you have them apart, the kind of front of them looks like this. And hopefully now you can see that the legs are apart. We pick up these little knee pieces, for now at least. Get that up out of the way. And then the legs, thankfully, they just extend. So we come here and well, I suppose you bend back this black piece and then you kind of bend the knee and that extends it. I'll show it over here. There's a little black piece back here that you would mistake for a foot. It's actually going to be a heel spur. You bend that out and then it lets you bend the knee forward. So instead of extending the knee, you sort of bend the knee, and then when you straighten it up, you'll have that. You can, I guess, put the knee pad back in, put the knee pad back in, and you can stand them up. And now these black pieces here on the back, they can extend down and become like heel stabilizers for his feet. Get that foot up over, and now we should be able to stand him up, as you can see, and that's the lower body done, thankfully. Now we got to deal with the hard part. That's right, that upper body. Remember I told you that this was going to get unpleasant? Well, I wasn't joking. This gets unpleasant. Okay, so this, we're just going to take all that off there for now. We're going to come over here and see if I can do this. And we should be able to begin to unpeg and untab the arms. We bring down this orange piece, which is the back bumper, and you can bring that kind of all the way out, and we can sort of split all of that, and then we can sort of bring the arms out for now. Now, I don't like this. Now, this whole blue piece here, I think the whole thing is die cast, which is kind of cool, but it doesn't necessarily make our job easier. So we come here and we bend that down. It's scary bending it down. We pick up the head and we fold out that whole section. Then we have to fold these tires in, but these tires need to like rotate around and then in. Rotate around and then in. I can get it here. Now I might not have this rotated quite correctly here. No, both of these should lay in flat. Give me a moment. And there, as you can see, with a little finagling, you get both of these tires flat. There's a black tab in there. You kind of have to rotate the tire around and sort of watch the position of that to get these in the right location, I suppose we'll say. Then we come here and we take the whole body and we turn it around, because this will be the front of the guy. We come here to this like back section of the roof, and we're going to have to extend it out, and it comes down over right here. It is, like I said, the hinges there are very delicate now, so I'm going to be very delicate doing this and hope that it does not break. So you fold it kind of out like that, and then using this hinge down here, you sort of bend it down over. I'm going to do that off camera and get it down in position because where it is broke, and then we'll kind of go on from there. And are we having fun yet? Is this fun? Because it don't feel fun. I'm just saying. So we have that in. Like I said, it's a broken piece. You can see it hanging off the bottom down there. It's fine. Now, these arms need to come out next. We pick off that section on that side. We pick off this section on this side and really rotate it around. So now we have the kind of clearance to get the arms out. These back fenders here are nothing but a disgusting nuisance the way they're done. The armature that they're on should have extended or something, because the tolerance is garbage for trying to get them around. You fold it like this, really. And you're going to split these arms, and what we have is we have a hinge up here and a hinge down here. And using this hinge down here, you need to sort of get this get this sort of up on the side. And then you're going to bend this down using that lower hinge enough to get that out. And then you're going to kind of bend it up again, because you still got to deal with this. You're going to do the same over here. You get this out. You're going to use that lower hinge, bend it out a bit, bend this up. And I guess you can even like pick the arms up for now if you want. And they do extend out. you'll see how they extend. It's pretty straightforward how they extend out. Now, okay, see if I can sort of explain this with some semblance of sense. What's going to happen is these two tires are going to go up into two curved spaces down here, and this peg will go into this hole and this hole. So these two like sections of the shoulders need to be up straight eventually. These pieces will sort of come around the back, although that one seems like it's done it fairly well. They need to come around the back, and then they'll peg into each other. This is scary to do. Again, I'm going to do this and just show you the end result. You need to do a lot of finagling of the way the shoulder and the arm is, and move this in a bit at a time because of this little tiny hinge here. It's not fun, and I don't want to break it because it's not mine. Okay, so now you can see one side done and one side not done. Over here is done. The piece is in behind. The shoulder is folded down. I will note that there's a little blue tab and a little blue slot, and that's what lines the shoulders up to hold them in place. I also have the arm extended on both sides. Over here, the thing that's a pain is that you have this section here, and it doesn't like to clear this section here. It is a nuisance. So you straighten that out. I'm going to see if I can just do this one here on camera. See if I can get it around here. There, I got that piece around, and now I'm bringing this piece down. You need to have this section like pulled off as much as you can. It's like the, I don't know, trunk piece of the vehicle. You need to have that pulled out as far as you can. Not that there's a lot of room, but then you can kind of get this piece in behind, and then we have a little rectangular slot down here and a tab. There's the tab here. There, sorry, here's the tab, and there's a slot up right here. Tab here, slot here. You're gonna bring this down. There's like two hinges there, so you need to bend it on the right one to bring it down and slot it in. Turn the arm so that's facing forward. These two pieces here, they will also slot together. There's supposed to be two plastic slots up here, and maybe I can get these together. It doesn't really hold, like it's just a guide, and one of them is broken off, so there's really only one plastic slot there. It doesn't really matter because it's not like it holds anyway. Come to the side here, and you fold this around, you extend the hand and bring it down. Do the same on the other side, where you fold this around, extend the hand, then you bring this piece up and over and in. Bring that whole chest section down. That's the rear bumper, by the way. And then you can bring this in, and you should be able to tab it all together and get these pieces on the back together. I'll do that so we can deal with the backpack last. Okay, so now that that kind of train wreck is done, I'll sort of explain what happened here. There's a little circular peg here and here. They go into those sections that I pointed out on the shoulders. There's also, on this neck piece, two little rectangular pieces, and they go into those two fender pieces that we had to finagle behind. And then those two fender pieces are supposed to tab together with two tabs up top. One of them is broken, but it almost doesn't matter because when you get them in position, you peg, like I said, this neck into it, and that holds them in place anyway. Okay, that leaves us with one final thing to do, and it is the rather obtrusive and distasteful backpack. And the backpack here is not fun. I don't like it. So we come around here to the back, and you can see the way everything is here. You had to pull these pieces off the most so that these could sort of swing in underneath them. It is not a fun tolerance. We take this now, and we should be able to fold this all the way in, fold this all the way in. Bring that down, and there's a little blue tab there that we also bring down. We should be able to fold both of those in, and we'll do the same on the other side, and then we fold it up on this hinge up over the back. And now that we have that done, I'm going to point out to you, and I did this deliberately because I wanted to point out something that you shouldn't do, and most people do it. I need to partially untransform this guy again. Why do I have to partially untransform this guy? Because the way that this backpack works is there is this hinge that has like an opening in the center cavity. And it needs to go in between these, like it needs to be in behind that. And then using this hinge and this hinge, you fold the backpack up. We cannot get it in here now because the space isn't there. So I'm going to have to specifically untab the front and pull it forward. Try and get these pieces now out of the way as much as I can to get this blue hinge in. Do not do that because you're going to have to undo it like I'm doing here. This should probably go in when you are trying to finagle these around the back to begin with. It would be a nuisance to get it in there then, but no worse of a nuisance than it is right now. We got it up there. We bring the hinge up, and this comes underneath and over top. Now, it's still not a big deal if you do have to untransform it. Like, the reason I wanted to show it this way is, if you do it, it's not a huge deal. It's one of those things like, it's better off if you don't have to do it. I'm gonna get this guy put back together so that we can finish this off. And now, thankfully, this is almost done to get it in robot mode. We just need to fold in the side mirrors, if you didn't already have that done, and then this folds up and tucks in to become his backpack. I do not find it stays up particularly well, but part of that might be because this guy has been compromised. So I'll turn him around and then we'll talk about some scores in his robot mode, and then we'll get him in torso and call it good. And after all of that, we're finally in robot mode. I know that had to look like a bit of a train wreck. There was a lot to explain there. I have certain joints that are compromised, so all of that had an effect. Now, that being said, once we have him done and we look at him, and thankfully this is the most complicated guy that we've got to deal with. The rest of them should be easier after this. But when we look at him, honestly, like his face mask should, like his eyes should be blue, his face mask should be red rather than silver, and his eyes being, you know, red. This orange piece on his chest arguably shouldn't be there, but you know what, mostly his torso is blue and the rest of him is orange. This is pretty accurate. I'm going to say it's a 9 in terms of paint apps for the character of Wideload. Yes, he does have quite the horrendous backpack, but such is the cost of doing business sometimes. So yeah, there you go. We have a grand spanking total here of a 9 for his looks. In terms of articulation, he rolls fine vehicle mode. He makes a pretty fine torso. In this mode, he has a head that can go left and right and up and down. Maybe up and down a little too easily. The shoulders, they can go all the way up, all the way back. They can go way out if you want to tab them, but that's fine as well. We have super duper deep elbow. We have wrist rotation. We have bicep swivel. We have a waist. We have legs that go out to the side. They go all the way forward. They can go all the way back. We have, oh, that does like to fall. We have a thigh swivel. We have a very deep knee. We have an ankle tilt that moves there. We have toe tilt. We have like heel spur. All that moves to help him get in dynamic poses. Honestly, the articulation is fantastic. I wish that backpack could be handled better than what it is. I do not like it in the least. It is nothing but a nuisance. I'm going to say his articulation, honestly, it's all solid and good. I'm going to say it's also a 9. With such excellent scores for articulation, and it's all nice and clicky ratchets, by the way, but with such excellent scores for articulation and for paint apps, I would love to be able to say that this guy is a slam dunk, home run, fantastic figure, but I can't, because the elephant in the room is that transformation, which is a beast. Not only is it a beast, but I think there are certain, like, getting those pieces around to the back, it is such a small hinge. Maybe it should have been a bit longer. Maybe it should have been collapsible. Once they're around the back, you have to make sure to remember to have that, like, armature up between those orange pieces. We've got a tab that is broken off. We've got 2 hinges that had to be fixed and reinforced with, in my case, Bondic is what I used. Built new plastic around it. We have to do now for the torso a bit of a slightly alternate transformation because we're dealing with those pieces as one flap on the side. the whole flap is down over his back. Like, both of those hinges are highly compromised. As far as I'm concerned, the transformation is an utter failure. One, it should have been good, but it's needlessly complex, and it's an utter failure. Now, that being said, just how big is this guy? Well, here he is next to Siege Optimus Prime. So you can see, like, he is quite oversized. I feel like these oversized throttlebots are probably best used as a stand-in, and I'm saying a stand-in very loosely here, for masterpiece throttlebots. They certainly don't have the look and the aesthetic or the build quality, but they do have the size that's probably where they would best fit in. Last piece here is to get him into his torso mode. And we're going to begin to do that by taking the blaster out of his hand, if I can get it out. There we go. We got that out, and we can lay that off to the side because we're not really going to use it anymore. Let's see if I can remember how this goes now. Hope I can remember how this goes. Come out is, yeah, there we go. That's what we have to do. Okay, so what we do is we're going to collapse our leg. Bring that forward. We're going to collapse our leg and bring it out to the side and then angle it down. That's what we have to do on both sides with the two legs. Okay, now once you have the legs collapsed, you can take these kneecaps, and there's a little circular port inside the kneecap. There's a little peg on the thigh. You bring that up over and you tab it in, and that really locks the thighs for the combined mode in place. We will also come to the chest, and we're going to bring that forward, which again is always a bit of a frightening ordeal as far as I'm concerned. Now, you're not going to want to try and bring it down all the way because you can't on this side. You don't have the room for it. You just wanted to loosen it up a little bit. You're going to pick these arms up out of the way for now, just so it's up out of the way. The backpack, have that up out of the way for now, and we're going to rotate the whole thing around. So now his back becomes his front, and that's where we're to. We have the back becoming the front. Now, whew, okay, so this wears me out. This wears me out. I want to try and bring this down if I can to sort of show you what I can here. We need to sort of get the, this is difficult to show. We need to sort of get the arms positioned like in the right manner here. So we bring this up. This needs to kind of come up over the top of this, so to speak. It's weird. It is a weird movement to do. I'll do this one and maybe we can show it with the other one. So, new plan. I'm just going to show you the way the arms are supposed to go. It is atrocious trying to get them up there as far as I'm concerned. The instructions for the combined mode are garbage. But basically what you need to do is take the shoulder and rotate the entire arm up so that it's facing straight up, and then collapse it. And then you need to also rotate the forearm so that you can get it in this position on this side. You have a rectangular tab here and a rectangular tab here. You pick up the bumper piece off of the chest and you bring it all the way up. And when you do so, there's a little slot right there and a little slot right there. They're supposed to lock in over those rectangular pieces. It does it precariously, like not great. Again, like everything with this transformation, it does it but not well. And when you get it locked in, by the way, the other side should basically look like this, where you have the opening there, you have the windows all here, and you have this piece here, and this will kind of just come up over. We'll deal with this in a second, but this will kind of just come up over. Now, you're supposed to have this flap and this flap out, and this small one and this small one in, but I have them all in because of how precarious these hinges already are. So I'm going to get this kind of cleaned up here, and then we're going to look at what attaches to it. Whoa, buddy. Now this is what I call a difficult transformation. This whole front section is it's just so compromised. The way these arms go is a nuisance. The upper body, the lower body is great. The upper body is hot garbage of a transformation. Then we come to this piece, which is the head, the glorious head. We're not going to look at it in too much detail now, actually, because we'll see it in combine mode. This here and this here, they're how the shoulders will combine, but we have a port and a peg, and a port and a peg down bottom. And those are going to come around here to the back. You see that fell down. And there's a port and a peg, and a port and a peg. And this just pushes on the back. Comes down over. It pushes on the back for solidity. And then we bring this back up over. And fit it kind of in behind this little piece coming down and this little piece coming down. That's really all that sort of holds this in because it is so compromised, but that is really the upper body. Then we also have a waist skirt, and I need to adjust his legs so that he doesn't fall back because he does get kind of heavy here now. So let me adjust things slightly and then we'll deal with putting on his waist next. Okay, now naturally, this isn't the normal way that I would do a combiner, but like, I want to get this guy in his combine mode and be able to leave him there because this is not fun. We have a waist skirt. It looks like this, and it, like there's a ball peg here and here. It can go out and get out of the way for him, you know, kind of kicking his legs forward, which is quite nice. There's an opening slot right there, and there's a peg, a weird shaped peg right here. This slots on over that weird shaped peg right there. I guess we call it a rectangular peg, I suppose. And then that goes on like that. Last but not least, we have two knee pieces. And the knee pieces are all opened out. These sides are bent out, this front is bent out. When we do legs, that'll make sense. But there's a slider right here, and it sort of slides in down under his feet here. Very Combiner Wars-esque. So if we just pick this guy up slightly, actually maybe we can turn around and actually show this, because I've glossed over a lot with this guy because he's so unpleasant. We take even bring these down a bit on the side. We take these, and there's a section down right there. It slots in, and you can even kind of bring that down over to sort of fill in the back there. And then on this side, you do the same sort of thing. I'll get that side piece down. I get this side piece down, and you slide it in. And I guess if you want, you can sort of bring that down over like that to sort of lodge in there. But this is kind of what we have. Let me just back things up here. And here we have him now in his torso mode. Look. My advice would either be to get this guy, put him in his combine mode and leave him and never touch him again, or get this guy and never ever put him in combine mode because it's scary enough going from robot to vehicle. Find a mode you like and stay there. The transformation, like I said, is garbage. He was scoring so well. He was scoring a 9.5. The transformation is a 1. It's terrible, terrible materials for this roof section. At best, this guy is maybe a 5. Extremely average, it's not good, but you do need him if you want the kind of entire set. But he's definitely the weakest of the bunch. There's no doubt about it. Luckily, the only way to go from here is up. Onward, upward for better. But this guy, 5 at best. This is how he looks in his combined mode. And the next time we see him, he will be in this mode, except he's gonna have more body and limbs to him than this. And so here we are once again, and you can see that this whole kind of cab over section has issues with the hinges. Maybe those hinges should have been die cast, maybe they should have been designed differently with thicker plastic, but there's way too many QC tolerance problems there with those hinges for me to be able to say that this is good. Don't get me wrong, in robot mode it's a fantastic robot. In torso mode, it's a fine torso. And in truck mode, it's a fine truck, even though it's really supposed to be, like I said, a dump truck. But you know, I suppose it had to go stylized to hide all of the like robot bits inside for the robot mode. It has to do the most, and it shows that it has to do the most. It feels overly engineered. Like, it looks cool in all those modes, but getting between them doesn't feel fun, doesn't feel good, especially with these rare fender pieces. Nevertheless, if you're in for one of these throttlebots, you have to be in for them all, and I wanted to start off with this guy to give us a base to grow from. We know now what this guy looks like in torso mode, and we know that there are add-on parts here that go with him that really allow him to have a head and arms and knees. We're going to see how the other ones attach to him, and thankfully, all of the other ones go a little bit easier than this guy does. I really wish that he had been engineered a bit better, because I want to really like him. I want to give him a fantastic score, but the best that I can muster for him, because of those tolerance issues and because there are certain movements that are frustrating and if not a little bit scary, I have to mark him down and say at the best he's only average, probably a little bit less so. Anyway, let me know what you think about this guy and what your experience has been with this third party or the KO version of Wideload. You know I love to hear from you guys. I appreciate you stopping by and giving me some of your extremely valuable time. I know how important it is to you. If you're in a position to help the channel to grow, there is a donate link down in the description. Please do not forget to hit that subscribe button. It helps me out so very much, and especially don't forget that somehow, some way, each and every day you do make a difference, and I look forward to the next time that you and I get together to have another visit, either in the live streams, at the stop motion premieres, or the old fashioned way, man, right here inside the videos.